Hello, AMC students. So here I'm going to just walk through a couple of the slides real briefly at the beginning part of the activity where we're looking at radians and degrees. And so that's the first learning target here, teach you about radians and kind of talk about how are radians related to degrees and hopefully convince you that they're actually useful. So here we go. So hopefully everybody's familiar with, we got 360 degrees in a circle. As you spin around 360 degrees in a circle, you can think about then a quarter circle, half circle, 3/4 of a circle, all those different measurements there. And so think about how to answer that question. What we start doing as mathematicians then is, instead of looking at degrees, we start looking at a different measurement called radians. It's still measuring angles, just like inches, feet, both are measuring length, just like minutes and hours are both measuring time. Radians and degrees are both measuring angles. And so you'll notice a very similar way of measuring here in a second. When you look at a radian here, watch as I drag this slider. Right now it's at 0 radians. That's our starting point. This is something that's a little bit weird sometimes for students, but this is where we start when we measure angles. We start due east, okay? Kind of at the 3 o'clock hour. This is 0. Now look what happens as I drag my slider. When I go 1 radian, I've moved a little bit around the circle. 2 radians, move further around the circle. 3 radians, almost a half turn. So 3 radians is a little bit less than a half turn. There we go. 3 radians doesn't get us quite halfway around the circle. You take a guess on it for what the exact number is to get you all the way across. It's a little bit more than 3. Think about a number. We're talking about circles here. That's a little bit bigger than 3. Let's play in the same game here. You can see that as we go from 0, 1 radian, 2 radians, 3, 4, 5, 6 radians, not quite a whole circle. We know that 3 radians got us almost halfway around. Think about what number is a little bit bigger than 3 that has to do with circles. What number is a little bit bigger than 6 that might have to do with circles as well, related to the previous answer. So you want to think about using your answer from the previous slide. How can you figure out what a full circle would be? Here we have a nice definition of a radian, and I would like to think of this as your equilateral pizza slice. So you got a pizza slice where you've got the radius of the circle here, right? The radius of the circle along the center to the outside, and then the same as the crust. The crust of the pizza is the same length. And then you'll start doing a little bit of conversions between radians and degrees. But all you need to really remember is, if you know how much a half circle is in degrees, and if you know how much a half circle is in radians, that's your conversion factor. Just like if you know 12 inches is 1 foot, all you need to do is either multiply or divide by 12. It's the same idea here. So don't try not to get lost in some of the details there. And so practice your conversion factor both directions there, and you can always refer back to what you'll see later, which is called the unit circle. That will always be something you can refer back to help. And that's it for this video.